What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best News Podcast News Award and 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online show in the world for fathers and dads that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. One other thing I do when I get the time, and I make the time for it, I'm the board chair of an organization called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It's a multimedia not-for-profit based in the United States, even though I'm in Canada, that is highlighting Blacks in the diaspora that are in the world of food, wine, and travel. And like to say, as always, blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on April 18th. Hope everyone, wherever you are, whether you're watching this live, watching it on the replay, or listening to it on the replay, you're keeping safe. As usual, on most Sunday afternoons, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we do something called Black Canada Talking. And Black Canada Talking is a live online event that provides Black Canadians the opportunity to give their takes and POVs on subjects and stories that are very important to them, or we highlight Black Canadians that are doing the thing, doing the right thing, as Spike Lee would have said. Today, we have another special friend coming to you, Ulysse Guerrier. Give you some background on him. He was born in Toronto and raised in Montreal. He was diagnosed with Sickle Cell S-Beta Thalassemia at the age of 2 years old. He started volunteering at the Canadian Sickle Cell Society at the age of 16, and eventually became a board member at 18 years old. That is good stuff. He's very involved in the sickle cell community in Montreal and Toronto, and hopefully one day around the world. Formerly, he was the project coordinator of the sickle cell program at the Tybo Community Health Center, which is located in Toronto. He is a sickle cell activist, also started a YouTube channel called Our Sickle Cell Life, where he captures moments of life and struggle of living with sickle cell disease. He's a past board member of the SCDAC, currently director of patient support at the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario, and co-founder of the UGIMA Sickle Cell Emergency Fund. He is dedicated to the support, empower, educate, and bring awareness to this cause of one day bringing sickle cell disease to the mainstream. So let's welcome for the first time, but the last time, Ulysse Guerrier. How are you today, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. We have been conversing back channel wise for the last number of weeks. Said it's time to let you out on the digital platform, get you out in the open. So you're doing good, all right today?
Well, I'm maintaining. It's been a rough week. I had my treatment on Thursday, so not feeling the greatest, but I'm here. That's the most important thing. Every day above ground is a good day.
I say the same thing. Another day, another opportunity, right?
Yes.
Good. Well, like we always like to do on the first time we have a new friend on the Dr. Vibe Show. I've known you for a bit, but my audience, my community doesn't know you that well. Can you share a little bit about your background, where you were born, grow up, Montreal, etc., as a young Ulysse?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Toronto, and my parents moved to Montreal. My parents from Haiti. I'm from Asian descent, and my parents had 5 children, and 4 out of 5 children had sickle cell disease. So I had 2 siblings that passed away from sickle cell. So to me, like, sickle cell became like my passion, my life, my purpose. So there's always a reason something happens, or everything happens for a reason, like they say. So God put me in this world to shine a bright light on sickle cell disease.
Well, before we go any further, I'd just like to express my condolences, losing 2 members of your family at such a young age. Very challenging, very tough. How were your younger days, not only having sickle cell, but just the family dealing with that challenge in your growing up years? So
what's interesting is, like, born in Toronto, my parents, kind of traveled a lot in my younger days. So because my sister, the one that preceded me, passed at a young age, she was about 8 months, I believe. And so when I was born, my mother was very protective of me, and I showed sign at an early age that there was something wrong with me. So she kept bringing me to the hospital at the time we're talking about in the 70s, there was not a lot of information on sickle cell disease. So I was misdiagnosed quite a few times. So what happened was my parents went to Haiti on vacation, and I got a crisis while I was there. So I was sick, and my mother brought me to a doctor while we were in Haiti, and that's how I got diagnosed with sickle cell disease. And in Haiti, like, because the population is like, I would say 90%, from African descent. So it's something that was pretty much known in Haiti. And the doctor that diagnosed me, her name is Yvette Boni, and she moved to Canada like not too long after I was diagnosed, and she became like a very prominent doctor in Canada. And she's actually the first doctor to do what we call a bone marrow transplant on a sickle cell patient in Canada. So Dr. Yvette Boni, you guys can Google her out. She also received like the Order of Canada medical for medical care. She's a pioneer in Canada in the field of hematology. So she's the doctor that diagnosed me, and she became like a mentor, like a second mom. So I was very blessed to have her in my life. Um, if she wasn't like part of my life, I don't think I would be here today, because she's the one that advocated for me at a young age, make sure I was getting good care. So for those who don't know, like sickle cell disease is a red blood cell disorder. So that for lack of better terms, our red cell is like is shaping like in a like oval shape for the regular red blood cell, and for abnormal red blood cell like sickle cell, it's shaped like a crescent or a banana. So what happened is when when the abnormal red cell goes to the vessel, it blocks. They don't carry oxygen, and due to the lack of oxygen, like a lot of areas affected, like can die. Like you can have different complication like organ failure, anemia, like the red cell, like a normal person, or like your red cell, like life is about like 90 days. For somebody that have sickle cell, like we destroy our red cell more frequently, like will be between 30 days to 20 days. So we require like frequent blood transfusion for those who have like a severe anemia, severe like sickle cell um, issues. Like myself, like I go to regular blood transfusion on a monthly basis. So that started when I was 10 years old. My first blood transfusion I had when I was 10.
Wow. So much that you just shared there, especially the lady who's been like a mentor to you. How has she not only physically helped you, but how has she helped you emotionally and mentally? It sounds like she's more than just a doctor to you.
Yeah, well, number one, we came from the same background. Like she's a Haiti formation background, and having her like as a mother figure, a lot of the decision that had to be made on a medical level, she would not only speak to my parents as a doctor, she would also um, put her input like as a parent. Like if I was your mom, I would do X, Y, and Z. Those are your choices. You have choice A, choice B, choice C. Um, it's your decision at the end of the day. But if I'm looking at you as my son, and this will be the advice I will give you, is to choose, option B. So like her words and like a decision, like her the way like she will evaluate like a situation. She will give us like all the options, and she will also give us like her personal opinion, and she will also let us know like regardless of the decision that we make, she will always be behind me, and she will always make sure that I have the best care possible regardless of my decision.
Nice. Very, very nice. And also, you were reading my alleged mind. I was going to ask you to describe what sickle cell is to my audience. And thank you for doing a really good job on that. So I appreciate you. I always like to get co-hosts wherever I can get them. So thank you so much for that. That's appreciated. You started volunteering at 16 years old.
Yes.
With like, that is outstanding. Canadian Sickle Cell Society. How did that happen? How did you make that happen?
Well, I would say when I was really young, like at the age of, I would say probably around 10 years old, Dr. Boney would use me as a case study for future doctors. Like she was also a teacher in the field of hematology. So a lot of the young doctors will come under her guidance, and she would ask my parents' permission if I can be used as a case study to teach other doctors about sickle cell disease and the manifestation of it, how it looks when I'm in crisis, issue with organs, like the different organs that are affected. So at a young age, I would be put in front of let's say 50 doctors, and I'm in their auditorium, and then they would discuss different diagnosis or different situation about, okay, so what would happen if a patient presents with X, Y, and Z? How would you be able to deal with that? So I'll be used as a demonstration for this disease. So if you think about it from the age of 10, so I was put somewhat in a pedestal, for lack of better words, and having that kind of attention, was good or bad, was good and bad at times. But I look at life in always like in a positive way, and for me it was like, if number one, there wasn't a lot of patient of sickle cell that was going to that hospital, and so there was like probably like, I'm going to give an example. Let's say there was 15 cases of patient of sickle cell in pediatric at the time, and a lot of the patient didn't want to participate. And when they came to me, so the doctor will ask, like, we don't have a lot of people that want to come and put themselves out there. What about you? What do you think? Would you want to do that? Can you do that for me? Like, Dr. Bonnie will come and ask me, and even if I was reluctant to do it, so I would look at it in the perspective of like, if nobody want to come out there and put themselves out there and talk about it, how can we make things better? So having those kind of conversation with my doctor, Dr. Bonnie at the time, made me understand that somebody had to do it, and why not me? So, and that's how it started, and having that that situation, be put in that situation, started at an early age. So when I was about 14 years old, I was introduced to the sickle cell, the Canadian Sickle Cell Society in Montreal, and the president of the organization, or one of the founders of the organization, Miss Rosetta Cadogan. Like, I was introduced to her, and she talked to me about sickle cell, and how how the organization can help educate the population and things of that nature. And she said, like, she need as many young people like myself to come out and be a model for other people. And that's how I was introduced. And there was a camp that they did on the summertime, and I was introduced to the camp at the age of 14 or 15. And afterwards, I became involved more, like, permanently at the age of 16. And I became like a counselor at the camp. So to help, like, other kids that have sickle cell. So it was a camp called Camp Double H Camp.
Okay.
Double H, that was down in the United States, in the New York, like outside of the in the New York State.
Yeah.
But outside of New York City. It's I think Rochester, New York, in a place like that, like upstate New York, and there's a lake called Lake George, and the camp is like a ranch that was donated by the actor Paul Newman and another philanthropist. I forgot his name, but the two of them put together some of the money and they purchased a ranch, and then the cause for that was to help individuals that have like disabilities, different illnesses, to be able to have some resemblance of a normal life, especially like with kids dealing with like cancer and different illnesses that they don't really have the opportunity to enjoy themselves and have like somewhat of a normal life. So they give that opportunity to us. So Ms. Cadogan advocated for sickle cell to be included in the list for that camp, and I was one of the first participant of this. Like when we were put on the list, I was one of the first participants to go there. And after my first year of going to that camp, the following year I became a counselor. I became more involved in terms of helping other kids, and I also became like one of my first like summer job. So that's how I got involved, and then I became a board member at the.
A board member at 18 years old.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen a lot. You know that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen a lot. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. You're now involved with the Sickle Cell Association of Toronto, of Ontario, sorry, and you're the director of patient support. How did you get involved in them, and what is your role in the area of patient support?
Well, when I moved to Toronto in '98. So when I moved to Toronto, the Rosetta Cadogan knew Miss Lily Johnson, which is one of the founders of the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. So she got me in touch with Miss Lily, and when I moved to Toronto, I met with Miss Lily Johnson, and so we spoke, and I asked her what can the association do for me, and she paused, took a deep breath, turned around and said, "What can you do for the association?" At the time, I was upset when she told me that, and I took it very personally. My brother was alive at the time, so we went to see her together, and so I'm like, I'm going to this lady for help and support, and she's telling me like, what can I do for her? Like, that don't make any sense. So I left that meeting like upset and kind of discouraged. So a couple of weeks later, she called me back and she said like, I haven't heard from you since the time you came to the association. Like, what's going on? We have an event coming up. Like, would you be interested in coming and participate and help? And I'm like, well, I would love to do that, but I don't have any money to pay for to come to that fundraiser event. So don't worry about it. Come, you and your brother come, and then just state your name, and then they'll give you 2 complimentary tickets to be there. So we came to, it was a brunch, a fundraiser brunch that they had at the JCA, and so we had a good time. My brother had a good time. My brother actually won some prize that they gave, like it was like a basket. A basket from, I think, Grace. Grace was one of the sponsors, and then he won the basket. And at the end of the day, we helped with the with the cleanup and everything. So we spoke with Miss Lee, and she asked us to come back again to have another meeting with her. So at that meeting, she told me like, I need young brothers like you and your brother to be involved. We don't have enough people that have sickle cell that are involved in the organization. And it says like, how can we do something for individual living with sickle cell, and when we don't have representation of people with sickle cell? So that's how I got triggered, and end up starting being involved and giving my my time and volunteering with them. And so Miss Lily always thought of me when there was like situation when we have to do presentation to a hospital and in different places about the life experience of somebody that has sickle cell. And so I ended up being there and speak on different events. And when my brother passed away, Miss Johnson was there for support, to help me, with the grieving piece and understanding, like, well, one of the cause of my brother's passing was something called silent stroke. So it's basically like a blood vessel. I'm sorry, like the red blood cell going to your brain and causing a blockage. So there was no oxygen going to the region of his brain, and so he passed away in his sleep. So it's called a silent stroke. You guys know about stroke, familiar with stroke, but the reason they call it silent stroke because there's no signs of there's no sign before to tell you, like, you have a silent stroke. The only way you can see that it's through an MRI, and when you have a silent stroke, it leaves a scar. And when they look at the picture in the MRI, they can see like a spot. There'll be a spot like in the area where there was the stroke, and that's how they can see that you were prone to that. And they'll give you like medication to help with like blood thinners to help with this condition.
Wow. Ulysse, you have been through a heck of a lot.
Yes.
I mean, I just wanted to take that moment of silence just for me and also for you, because I want to bless you because you've been through a lot right from day one. And losing so many family members, that's not easy. But let me get out of that mode. And I want to celebrate someone that probably a lot of people in the world don't know about. I want you to give a few moments to tell the world about Lily Johnson, because I remember many years ago, and it's interesting because the conversation that you described with her, that's Lily Johnson. Like, I mean, she don't play, as we say these days. She don't play. Yeah. If you can give just a few moments of how to just showcase how special a lady Lily Johnson is.
She's very special. Number one, like it's a lady when you meet her, like, how can I say that? Some people, like, leave an impression with you, good or bad. She's the type of person, like, if she walk into a room, you can't miss her. And the funny thing about it, she's a short lady. She's a short lady. She was born in Jamaica. She turned 99 in March 13, I believe. March that just passed, she turned 99.
Yeah.
And she's still sharp. She has lost a little bit of her mobility. She has lost a little bit of her eyesight. But besides that, she overcame COVID-19. She's strong, and she's strong mentally. She's strong physically. She's a lady, when she has something to say, she speaks her mind. Whether you like what she says or not, she will speak her mind. And she doesn't, some people are like, starstruck, or they will be mindful of the environment where they're in and who they're speaking with, or things of that nature. She will speak to the same way she'll speak to the prime minister is the same way she will speak to you. It doesn't matter your title, doesn't matter where your background, where you're from. If she has something to say, she'll speak the truth. She'll tell you things the way it is. And, it's on you to take it however you want to take it. And what I've learned from her, like, when she told me, like, instead of me coming to the association and ask for the association for help, she flipped it around and said, like, what can I do to help the organization? That was very powerful. At the time I was young, I didn't get it. And what I understand later on is, like, this organization is called the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. It's for individuals living with sickle cell. If there's nobody that has sickle cell that's part of the organization, how can the organization move forward? How can the organization truly live its mission if people don't want to be involved? And one of the issues in our community we don't like to talk about things. When talk about illnesses, we don't like to talk about illnesses. We don't like to talk about disability. We don't like to talk about mental health. Mental health doesn't exist in our community, based on some people, right? Those kind of like difficult conversation, those are conversation that doesn't happen in our community, or it happens behind closed door. People don't need to know your business. This is one of the way our community thinks and talk. Like what happens like in the family, stay here. It doesn't come out. If you're struggling, you remain with your struggle by yourself. But ironically, we have a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child, right? From the African ideology, it takes a village. It takes a community to be able to help an individual become strong and being able to overcome a lot of things. So we cannot do things by ourselves. So that mentality of keeping things inside and private, we need to be able to differentiate when some topic needs to be private. I agree, but overall we need to be able to ask for help. We need to be able to talk about things that affect us as a community so that we can change things.
This is beautiful. Just to touch, watching live here, if you're watching live, LaWanda Neal is asking, are we taking questions? Yes, we are taking questions. So please put your questions and Ulysse will answer them to the best of his ability. Brittany Hightower saying, proud of you, UG, here to support you. Check out the Slay Your Sickle Cycle for support opportunities for the sickle cell community. We need more of this for sure. Thanks for sharing your story. Angela is saying we need to begin a conversation of getting screened for sickle cell disease. So true. We're forced to fight alone. So I am not aware of what is when this Angela is saying we need to begin a conversation of getting screened. I don't know what that means. Can you explain that for us?
Okay. So in our community, we are prone to carry the gene of sickle cell. So when we talk about knowing our status, what is your sickle cell status? It's a simple blood test that could be done. You go to your family doctor and ask to be screened for sickle cell disease. It's called electrophoresis. Electrophoresis. It's a test that they put the red blood cell under microscope, under I think it's an electrical current that give you will see the actual shape of the crescent shape of the red cell under the microscope. So like a normal red cell looks like an oval, and an abnormal red cell, sickle cell, look like a crescent or a half moon or a banana shape. So right there under the microscope, you could see it. And that's how they'll be able to tell you what type of sickle cell that you have. It's basically a genetic test.
Let me ask now, for those of us who have doctors who are of the Afrocentric background, should we be able to go to our doctor and get that test? And just another question, would our doctor even know what that test is?
Well, if you specify what is the test, they will know what it is because it's on the list of all the on the requisition form to do a blood work. It will be there. Electrophoresis.
So LaWanda has a question here. What are you going? I guess what are you going to do? I think what are you doing to maintain your sickle cell daily? What type are you? And if you don't mind, how old are you? So that's up to you to answer if you'd like to answer those questions.
Okay, sure. My sickle cell type is S-Beta Thalassemia. So I have sickle cell and thalassemia. So thalassemia is basically the red blood cell die faster than a normal red cell. So people that have thalassemia, they have to get a frequent blood transfusion to be able to have like a somewhat of a normal life, and they also have to take medication to help them. It's called to help with when you have multiple blood transfusion, you end up having iron deposit in your organs. To try to remedy this situation, they give a medication to remove the iron. The terminology doesn't come to my mind right now, but yeah, essentially that's what the treatment for thalassemia. Sickle cell, one of the major symptoms of sickle cell disease is pain. So we have pain from head to toe. We got like wherever you have blood circulating in your body, you can have a sickle cell crisis there. We call it a crisis. It's where the red blood cell goes and there's a blockage. There's there's no blood flow, there's no oxygen going there, so that area end up having inflammation and pain. So basically the trigger how you feel, it will be pain. So I like for me, like, you know, I live with pain like on regular basis, like every day.
Oh
So
my goodness. Wow.
so when I was talking to you earlier and I was saying, like, you know, I had my treatment on Thursday.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like, I usually don't feel good for a few days afterwards, and then slowly, like, you know, I get back to normal. Like, although, like, you know, I live with pain every day, like, I know that's part of my life. That's what I have to deal with. But I don't let that define me. Like, you know, I take something positive out of my day, whatever it is. It could be something to distract me. It could be like, you know, watching sports. As an example, like, I'm a huge sports fan. Like, watching football is, you know, my joy and my pleasure. Like, you know, on a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays. That's, and specifically Sundays. It's my day for me to watch.
well, because there's no NFL football, I'm glad I got you. I'll remember that for future conversations. Don't reach out to you on a Sunday because he's in front of the TV watching his football.
So that's my distraction.
Yeah. Also, she asked, "How old are you, or
I'm
how
40.
young are you?"
I'm 45.
You look good, brother. You're doing good. You're doing good. Let me ask, after you, and we'll catch up because there's a lot of comments, and I'd like to, people who are watching live, keep the comments coming along. Thank you for helping me keep this an epic conversation. After you go through a treatment, I know you always live with pain. How long does it take for the pain to fully subside or reduce, per se, after a treatment? Or does it?
Okay, I would say that I have pain every day. So my pain would be like on a scale of 1 to 10, if I can use that that terminology. I live with pain from 0 to 5 on a regular basis.
Wow.
When I'm in a crisis, it would go from 7 to 10.
Oh my gosh.
So from 0 to 5, on a good day, it'll be 0 to 3. Like, I never have pain less than 3.
Jeez.
So I never go to 0. That never happened. So from 3 to 5, like 3 is a good day, 4 is a good day, 5 is an okay day. Like, you know, I can tolerate. When I get to 6, starting to struggle. You know, 7, struggle. 8 is like, this is where the alarm goes on. Like, you know, now you have to identify, can the 8 goes down to 7, 6 by, you know, doing the things that I need to do to manage it.
Okay, so let me just politely interrupt you there. So when it's at an 8, what do you need to do?
So I take like pain management, like, you know, pain medication. I drink a lot, so you have to hydrate yourself. Like, I would drink a minimum of like 10 to 15 up to 20 glasses of water a day. So I have to drink, like, you know, like literally like a bottle of water every half hour.
Oh my gosh.
So drink a lot, take pain meds, and we're talking about narcotics, like, you know, high strong pain medication like oxycodone, like Dilaudid or hydromorphone, fentanyl, which is what I take. Fentanyl is the drug that is how do you say that? The face of the drug. What's the terminology? We have an issue with drugs now. The name doesn't come right now. I'm not 100% there. But if you understand what I'm trying to say,
Yep.
They've been using like when something happened to the mainstream community, it becomes it becomes an issue, right?
Mhm.
But if it happened for small, like opioids, yeah, thank you. But there's the opioid crisis. Thank you, dear. So fentanyl is the poster drug for the opioid crisis.
Yep.
So that medication is vilified. Is that the right word? Like it got stigmatized as
Yeah.
the drug that like drug
Yeah.
addict.
Fentanyl. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fentanyl crisis. Yes. Yes. Opioids and the fentanyl crisis. I agree. I got you.
All right. So this is one of the drugs that I take for pain. So when you go to the hospital, like right now, okay, my pain is at an 8. Okay, it doesn't show because
Wow.
if you don't know me and you're not around me on a regular basis, you won't be able to know how the pain manifests and how like everybody deals with pain differently, and pain is kind
Absolutely.
of subjective. When you know me, you could see it in my face. Like people that knows me, they would be able to tell me like I'm not well. Um, but people that don't know me, I look good. I look
You know
well.
what?
You know?
You're fine.
Hmm.
You are fine with us.
Hmm.
Okay? You are fine.
Hmm.
We love you and we care about you. You are fine. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say that there.
Thank you. But what I was wanted to say is like because like when you see me right now, you cannot tell that I'm not well, right? If you don't know me. So imagine if I go to the hospital right now. This is one of the issues that we're dealing with and we're trying to fight to change. If I go to the hospital right now and present myself like this, they will question whether or not my pain is real. If I'm really in pain, if I'm really in the amount of pain that I say that I am. Like on the scale of 1 to 10, if I say my pain is an 8 out of 10 right now, they in the way that they were educated, they would say like if your pain is like really high, you should present in a way where you be mourning, screaming,
Yeah.
kicking, doing like a scene. Like you have to do something to show that you're in pain. If you're not doing something like extreme to show that you're in pain, taking your blood pressure, your heart rate. There's other factors that they can count to see like whether or not you are in pain, but that's not always accurate. So one of the things that we want people to understand is like you have to believe what the patient's telling you. So if I'm telling
Yes.
you my pain is 8 out of 10, you have to believe me, it's 8 out of 10. And one of the reasons why we try to go and we advise people to go to the same hospital on a regular basis all the time, or go to a center that is known for sickle cell, that knows to treat that sickle cell, because you don't have to face with those issues too often. So it's like if I go to the hospital, the nurse that screened me don't know about sickle cell, don't know about my case. I can tell you, go look at my file. I've been going to the hospital like frequently and recently. I was in hospital on Thursday. So if I'm telling you my pain is 8 out of 10, like I'm telling you the truth and I'm serious. Who wants to be in the hospital? Who wants to live like spend your Sunday or whatever day in the hospital? Like who wants to?
No.
Is that a hanging out spot? Is that the hot spot?
No.
Like it's not. So that mindset needs to be changed, and this is part of the work that we do on educating the population in terms of knowing like what to look for, right?
Wow. Just want to, there is a pile of comments. So you are hot property right now. So I'm going to make sure. Yeah, so just want to, Brittany Hightower says screening is important. LM, who I know who that is, and thank you for chiming in, LM. Ulysse, what advice would you give to a young sickle cell warrior growing up to encourage them to reach their goals and not give up?
I would say to you that way. Like I have sickle cell. Sickle cell is part of my life. But sickle cell doesn't define me, doesn't define my dreams, my aspiration, my goals. Um, I use sickle cell as a tool to fuel me to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. So instead of using it for something like oh poor me, like things are hard, things are difficult, I use it as okay, God gave me this for a reason. So what can I do to impact other people? What can I do to help other people? What can I do to make this situation, this condition better? And my goal in life is basically when I came to this world, the condition of sickle cell was X. When I leave this world, I want the condition of sickle cell to be better, to be like, from X to Z, whatever, right? So, as an example, when I came to this world, there was no screening for sickle cell disease in terms of newborn screening. This is the achievement of the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario and Miss Lily Johnson, that sickle cell was put on the list of diseases to be screened when the child is born. That happened in 2005, and it was implemented in 2006. One of the goals of the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario is to be able to have a universal protocol for sickle cell disease. So when you go to the hospital, regardless of which hospital you go to in Ontario, that number one, they should know what sickle cell is. Number two, they should know how to treat it and how to screen you and fast track you. If they're able to, when you go to the hospital and you have a sickle cell crisis, if they're able to take care of you inside of 30 minutes, it reduces the amount of time that you spend in the hospital. Instead of spending on average like a week, the average of hospital stay for people that has a sickle cell crisis, it's an average of a week. If they were to implement this protocol, the average will go from 5 days to 3 days or less. Because when you deal with the crisis in an aggressive manner, the person comes in, got screened, like got triage right away. Inside of 30 minutes, you go in, they give you, they do the blood work, they put an IV on you, give you IV fluids, they give you pain management, give you pain meds, they give you oxygen to help, like, carry oxygen to the vessel, like, to alleviate the blockage and the lack of oxygen going to the region wherever you have pain. So oxygen, IV fluids, hydration, pain management, pain control, pain meds, and they put you on the stretcher and you're able to get some rest. When the doctor comes, talk to you, evaluate you, and adjust the amount of medication that you need to take. And once they do that, and very aggressively, and they do that efficiently, it could go from staying overnight and then you're able to go home the next day, or you can spend, like, 3 days in a hospital and then you're able to go home instead of spending like a week or more because they didn't know what to do. You weren't taken care of right away. The pain management wasn't done appropriately, etc. All those things impact the amount of time that you're gonna have to stay in the hospital.
Okay. Wow. This is fire right now. And again, thank you to the wonderful people who are watching us live. And I'm going to try to catch up because while you've been sharing, the comments have been flying in. So I'm going to see if I can go back and just pick some selected ones. And if I don't read your comment, it's my head, not my heart. So Brittany is saying, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Jadun,
Jadenu, yeah.
Jadenu is the medication that removes excess iron, because she says there's a lady named Lawanda who says, I have iron overload also. And Lawanda's saying my feet and are swollen right now. Lawanda says 41 young, thank God. Lawanda also says she hears men have a harder time with this disease, and a lot of them don't live past 35. Is that true?
Well, I don't know the exact statistic for in terms of life expectancy. Men have a harder time in general on life because we're talking about Black men specifically, for different reasons. Number one, like, we were conditioned and raised that we're supposed to be taking care of our families. We're supposed to, bring the bacon. What's the name? Provide. Sorry.
Providers.
Provide. Like, we are the providers of our community, right? So, and you look at the state of men in the Black community. Quite a few of us, didn't finish school for whatever reason. Some of us are in jail. Some of us have difficulty, like, maintaining like a job, like a full-time job, etc. Now you add sickle cell to the picture, where it's hard to maintain like a full-time job due to missing a work for various crises, and depending on the severity of your sickle cell, because some people have sickle cell disease and they don't have a lot of crisis and they don't go to the hospital often, and some people go to the extreme side of the spectrum, like myself, go to the hospital on a monthly basis. And if I were to work in corporate Canada, missing
that's what happened. Yeah,
5 days on a regular, like 5 days a month. I don't know how many companies would keep me, to be honest with you. And I lost a lot of jobs because of that. So that's one of the reasons why it's difficult for us. And so now you add stress. Stress is a trigger for crisis for people with sickle cell disease. Stress is a trigger. Dehydration is a trigger. Change of the weather, like the up and down, cold and hot, like in Canada, is another trigger. Like there's many things that can trigger somebody to have a crisis. So being in this environment where things are fast paced and you have to produce and produce, men have a tough time for that. And men are the people that you look towards for support and things of that nature. So if you're in a relationship and you're supposed to provide and take care of your family in so many ways, and if you don't have the support of your partner, or if you don't have the support of your family, of the community, to help you overcome those obstacles, it's hard.
I get it. Okay, gonna go back to the comments. Angela says, I am in the Bronx finishing my thesis on, I believe this, does income and education impact, her thesis on, does income and education impact knowledge of sickle cell disease in the Dominican community in New York? Please reach out to me. Together we can keep our families and friends informed and build our community. So we'll certainly give Ulysses' contact information before we finish the conversation. Brittany's saying, yes, I'm in crisis, but you'd never know from the look or demeanor, which is why I haven't went to the hospital. Lawanda's saying, us warriors are generally good looking, a plus for us, but a minus when you're in a crisis.
True.
Petrina, I hope I'm saying that name
Petrina,
right. Petrina, sorry, thank you. And when you present a noticeable pain symptoms, you're called a fake, overacting. Petrina saying, you become a problem, which is also unfair because of all the stigma surrounding sickle cell. I only go to the emergency when I cannot control pain at home, and that's when it is too late. Oh my gosh. Lawanda, it's so irritating when you're in severe pain and people, especially medical staff, tell you, but you look good.
Yes. Yeah, I got that.
Serena's saying, inform them that it's your way of coping. That's Serena Petrina. Oh yeah, Serena Petrina. So I love that. Lawanda saying the stigmas are the reason we stay so long in hospital. They have to Serena saying they have to understand that you're living with pain all your life. Wow, here we go. Petrina saying only government will keep you, and even if they don't for so long, sickle cell affects all aspects of our lives daily. If we could put up Lawanda's comment, because I don't know how to say this word, maybe preeclampsia.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Is the name that makes males go through what they in sickle cell and their genitals. It makes them hard to reproduce. I hope that's not an embarrassing question. No, it's a question. It's an important question.
I think she's talking about paraplegia.
Okay. And then Brittany says, I have to consider so much before I go if I'll be treated good, bad, or at all. And it's sad because that's how we lose so many warriors. We can't trust the system that's supposedly built to help us because it ends up worse.
Brittany.
Tanisha says, thanks for sharing, Ulysse. How can the Black community support you and the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario? We're going to get to that. The questions are just going, wow, this is good. This is good. It's called
Priapism.
Priapism. So let's go back to priapism. So I wanted to, catch up with the comments again. If I missed them, it was my head, not my heart. There's so many, but keep them coming. So let's talk of priapism first, and then we'll get to some other stuff.
So priapism is a sickle cell crisis that happened in your penis. So basically, your penis get erected, and the blood flow that goes to your penis to keep it erected stays there. There's a blockage. So essentially, you have an erection that lasts more than 4 hours, and it's at that point it becomes very painful. And it's not you have that not necessarily because you're aroused or anything. It's just like blood circulating in your penis and stay there, and that creates this blockage, that creates this terrible amount of pain that you can't alleviate by yourself for some situation when it's really severe, and you need to have like you need to have the blood removed from your penis, and that is done in a hospital. So they have to put a syringe in your penis and remove the blood to help you with that. And you can imagine how much pain that is, to be poked in your penis to remove the blood. Some of the things, like, you could do, like, put ice on it to try to help alleviate it, exercise to try to help with the blood flow. There's different things that you try to do on your own. And when it comes to a point where after 4 hours, everything you do, nothing works, you got to go to the hospital to get it done. Otherwise, you could literally lose that organ.
So, I just want to get to that point now also. We're living in the province of Ontario, and the cases of the COVID are really, really high, and our hospital rooms allegedly are at full capacity. So even before the pandemic, it was challenging to get, it sounds like challenging at times to get the right sort of attention when you go to a hospital. How is that situation now?
It's hard, but what I would say is that regardless of the situation of COVID, if you have a crisis and things are very difficult and you're not able to manage it at home, go to the hospital. Your life is precious, and you don't want to die at home because you're afraid of going to the hospital. That's I have too many people that passed away that I know. They waited and then they passed away at home. And imagine the family that has to deal with that. The person coming home and seeing you, dead because you were afraid of going to the hospital. That's not that's not fair for them. You have to think about your loved ones and what they're gonna go through dealing with you passing in a situation where you didn't want to go to the hospital. What I would say, it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. Going to the hospital now, it's hard. I was in the hospital in September with a crisis, and we couldn't have visitors. That's very hard to deal with everything that you're dealing with, and then to have to deal with that alone by yourself. It's hard. And the other thing about it too, now, because of COVID becomes an excuse for everything. So now, if you be mistreated at the hospital, who's advocating on your behalf? Who's there to support you? If you don't have a relationship with the staff at the hospital, it's going to be very challenging. So I'm not telling you that everything is it's peach and creams and roses, but look at, like, the two evils. It's two evils. You're at home and you're suffering, and you can't manage it by yourself at home. The best thing to do is to go to the hospital. Going to the hospital, it's not good because now you don't have support. You don't have family members and friends to come visit you. You have to deal with it by yourself. You have to be more alert to make sure that they're treating you the right way and they're doing the right things and they're doing the appropriate things that they need to do for your care. So now you have to be mindful. So you have to, it's I don't know, it's a very difficult battle, but at the end of the day, you get to live and see another day. So yes, it's difficult, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You'll be feeling better at one point, and you'll be able to go home. Staying at home and dying at home, it's not good for you, and it's not good for your family. It's not good for the people that loves you. It's not good for people around you. So you got to
Yeah.
choose what's best for
Yeah.
not only you, but the people that care about you and that loves you too.
So getting back to the pre-apism, Brittany's
Right.
saying, I'm gonna
Right.
let you, I'm just gonna call it the P word and you can complete
Yeah.
because I don't want to get it wrong all the time. Brittany
Yes.
says, I want people to know that women can have the same issue with their reproductive organ as well as men do when in a crisis. Elle is saying it's what many women go through when they suffer from high blood pressure and protein in their urine during pregnancy. As Ulysse explained, the P word is what some men with sickle cell disease suffer from. Wow, these comments are beautiful because they're just being so honest. It's easy to go to the hospital, but that's where the trauma that comes with seeking treatment. But it's also necessary to go when you need to. Patrina's saying, I go to the clinic out of I go to a clinic out of a hospital for treatment, and this has been working to help me keep me out of emergency. My goal is to manage and maintain and get immediate treatment, so I am not waiting on emergency for treatment. It has been helping. I only pray that they don't cancel it. Elle is saying, thank you for your transparency. Ulysse, it was great hearing your story. Oh, wow. Serena says that's why the hospital needs to allow patient care partners to be beside us. Brittany saying, thank you. Please reach out. Serena says, we deal with the trauma every time we go into the ER. So let me ask you, how has the pandemic impacted the families and individuals who either have sickle cell or trying to assist people or individuals that have sickle cell?
It's been very hard because the isolation, right? On a regular, quite a few people living with sickle cell disease feel isolated, are isolated for various factors. As an example, having pain and not able to do your daily activities. It's challenging, and quite a few people make the choice to stay at home and don't get don't socialize much because of how they feel. So now that was by choice. With the pandemic, you are literally imprisoned in your house. The only time you are allowed to go out is for going to the hospital, going to get your medication to the pharmacy, and going to do your groceries. And for some people, for those who have a job, so you can either go to your job or you work at home.
Right.
So basically, we're in this invisible prison constantly, and it looks like there's no way out, because every time like you have this hope that things gonna get better, they give you like, okay, so we're gonna be in quarantine for 30 days, and by the 28 days they're gonna say, oh, we're gonna extend it for another 30 days. By the 28 days again, the numbers were so high, we're gonna have to close it for 3 months. And then after 3 months, they open it a little bit, give you a hope that things gonna get better, and then the number goes high again, and you go back to square one. So now it affects people mentally, like the mental health issues is gonna go like sky high after
Already is.
after this pandemic, because
It already is.
yeah.
It already is. We're
So
just not hearing about it.
yeah, can you imagine? People are not talking about it much, and the resources allocated for help with mental health, it's almost non-existent. There are some. There's some. I'm not saying that there's none, but it's not enough. Whatever is out there, it's not enough. The access to get access to care for mental health, it's very challenging. It's very hard to access it. And for our community, it's even worse. So I don't know how we're gonna be able how I don't know what we're gonna be able to do to overcome this barrier, because this is something that we're gonna have to address, because at one point it's like they say, like, when eruption. So like it's like you have the pot on the stove, and it's boiling, it's boiling, it's boiling.
Explosion.
At one point it's gonna come over the top, right? So I think we're getting close to that point. And what are the resources out there to help contain this before it erupts to the point where there's nothing we can do anymore? So when the government's saying, like, the putting money out there to help the community and X, Y, and Z, are, are the population really seeing the help, like when it comes to mental health for the Black community? I can guarantee you, like, there's a waiting list for people to see a counselor.
Yeah. And also
right?
a culturally sensitive counselor.
Yeah.
That's even so let me catch up here. Serena says it's extremely hard because we are isolated, but still need help to get groceries and medication. Patrina, yes, Serena, which is why I don't call an ambulance. I have to go to the hospital that I know I can get better treatment. Doesn't always work, but it's better than waiting upwards of 1 or more hours just to see a doctor who will confirm that you need treatment. It sucks. Brittany says, I've started a Zoom weekly support group, and it has been a great resource for patients. Serena says, mental health is exacerbated when you're isolated. Patrina says she's in the group. Please send reminders. So I do tend to forget. Sorry, I've been missing them. So you two need to make sure you're coordinated. And Lawanda says it's so important to have a good patient-doctor relationship with your specialist and be transparent with your specialist. This helps in treatment. Because of this, I can go to my doctor and go into his clinic for treatment when I'm having lingering pain or headed to a hospitalization. Wow. That's fantastic.
Well, thank you for the comments, guys.
Yeah, your comments are like, this has been a community conversation. I really, really appreciate it. We'll start closing it down or fading it down here, my man. First of all, well, I'll save it to the end. What are some words you'd like to leave us with?
I want to encourage you guys to know that as a people, we overcame so much. We overcame, like, invasion from different groups, different communities back in ancient Egypt. From millenniums, we've been around, and we've been there, and we overcame so much. We overcame the enslavement process. We overcame Spanish flu. We overcame World War I, World War II. We overcame the Tuskegee experiment. We overcame SARS. We overcame a lot of things. COVID-19 is not going to be the end of us. We will overcome that too. So we are a resilient bunch. We are a resilient people. And I would let you guys know that regardless of what the enemy has in store for us, we will always come on top. And at the end of the day, look at it this way: despite everything that happens, we are still here. And every day above ground is a good day. And do the best that you can to help and support your community, educate the community about the struggles and the things that we go through. I'm not asking I'm asking for understanding and empathy so that we all in this together. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am, and I hope you are.
It's a
I'm
beautiful.
complete.
That's a beautiful way to end this. And well, before I start closing out with you officially, just the comments are still coming in. Patrina says that's what I've been doing with my hermatologist at the Hematology Oncology Clinic. Serena, both myself and Ulysse, we're based in Toronto. Tanisha says, well said, Ulysse, we shall overcome. Lawanda says, so true, especially when you have no support. I'm still the head of my household, even in hospital. Patrina says, fighters till the end. We never really give up. Even when seems defeated, we still trudge on, onwards, forwards, always on the move. And Tanisha says, you shall overcome. Well, not only will we overcome, we shall overcome. So if my producer if you can put up the contact information for Ulysse, his email address is our sickle cell. Well, his Twitter, that's his Twitter, and Instagram
Twitter and Instagram.
is our sickle cell life.
Our sickle life.
Yeah, sickle life, and then our sickle cell.
No, there's no
Life.
cell. Our sickle life.
I'm reading our sickle life at
Yeah.
Gmail is his contact information. And then if there's also the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. If we can get that email address up, that would be great. Yeah, it's scrolling at the bottom if you are watching this live. My man, thank you so much. I know you so much better than I already do, and I appreciate you sharing your story and your journey, not only of yours, but many others. And some of them were actually during this live conversation. I want to salute you and give you the blessing. And hopefully I can help you more than I already am. So I appreciate it when you're an 8 out of 10 and you're still showing up strong to us. That says a lot about you. So I appreciate it and don't take it for granted. I want to thank Lawanda, Serena, Patrina, Tanisha, Elle, Carla. I missed your question, Carla. We just ran out of time. So my apologies on that. Who made this an epic conversation live? The comments are still coming in. We're going to definitely have to get Ulysse back because he's on. Okay. So, producer, can you just put up Elle's comment, please? Yes. So, Elle saying here, she says, I hope it's okay for me to share, but I write books for children who live with sickle cell disease. And she gives her link here at amazon.com/author/Elle Cole. Elle Cole, on the back channel, I'm going to ask to have you come on the Dr. Vibe show. I know we've been on Mary Armstrong's platform before, but I think it's time for you to come on yourself because now you need to get on. And also, producer, if we can just get the email address for Sickle Cell Ontario, info@sicklecellontario.ca. That would be great. If possible, info@sicklecellontario.ca, and then also Canada Help for Donation, Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. Well, I said it verbally. Oh, there we go. There's the email address for Sickle Cell Ontario, info@sicklecellontario.ca. And then we have Canada Help for Donation, Sickle Cell Association of Ontario. Okay, folks, we are going to end it up because Ulysse needs to get back and get some rest. So, and then Lawanda saying, yes, thank you, Ulysse. Can you do this again? Maybe monthly. That's up to him. I'll make the space for him and the community. That's up to him. So It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, winner of the Best Podcast News Award, and 2018 winner of the Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online broadcast in the world that is sponsored, that for dads and fathers, that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central. And I also am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It is a not-for-profit multimedia organization that showcases Blacks in the diaspora who are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. I'd like to thank everyone who came by today. Also, if I have a special gift for you, if you want, and I need my producer to put up a special website, if he can do that for me, we have a link that we need to put up. And it's the drvibeshow.com/offer. So I'm just hoping my producer can put it up on the screen. Yep, there we go. So if you're watching live or on the replay, so you go to the drvibeshow.com/offer. If you go to that, just fill out a quick little form. I will send you a special article written by me, and you will join the Dr. Vibe Show mailing list. Also, one other thing, Ulysse said his YouTube channel is R Sickle Cell Life. So that's OUR space SICKLE space LIFE. That's it. So, as always, I want to end off my conversations like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. Thank you, BIA Media. Next week on the 25th, we are scheduled to have our monthly roundtable with L. Warren Cesar, catching up on some of the events that have been going on in the world over the past month. Please do not miss it. And please, if you can, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me. Just go to my website and it gives everything there, the drvibeshow.com. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And again, thanks to the BIA Media for great production. Bye-bye, everybody.